Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Denali and I am a full-time reseller on websites like eBay and Poshmark. You can find me on Instagram as DUCHO Thrift. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, hit the button down below. And if you enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up today. So I thought I would come to you with another one of my car coffee chats. Here's my coffee. I actually have a coffee with me today. And I would talk to you about just something that was rolling around in my brain this past week regarding thrifting and sourcing. So, you know, a lot of times people say it's really competitive at the thrift store or at their Goodwill outlet. I'm going to speak for the Goodwill outlet because that's where I do all of my sourcing. I don't really prefer to shop at the thrift store, but that's just a matter of preference. You know, a lot of times people say it's getting really competitive there. Yes, I'm sure, you know, I'm sure the Goodwill outlet has changed since its inception, since before I ever started shopping there. However, I don't think that the same people that were shopping there at day one are still there. Right? There's probably some people. It's probably a very small percentage of people. So I think it's kind of cyclical. And I think that, you know, there's always people who are there shopping for a while and then not shopping there. I don't want to say ever again, but like not often, not as often as they used to be. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So I wanted to talk about how you can have a competitive advantage in an environment that you feel, you have competition. So, you know, on my channel, if you've been watching for a while now, you'll often hear me say stuff like, I don't like selling men's items, or I don't sell men's items, or I don't like selling shoes, or I don't sell shoes, right? And then in the next video, you'll see I've picked up shoes or men's items or hard goods or other items that I said I don't like selling. But I think that's where I have a competitive advantage at places like the Goodwill outlet, even the thrift store, right? This applies to the thrift store also, is because I'm willing to break outside of a category that, you know, that basically I just don't stick to a category. I don't necessarily have a niche, other than my niche is generally pre-owned clothing, though I'm not opposed to selling new with tag clothing. So I'm willing to step out of that. And I think that that's where other people can get, you know, pigeonholed at the outlet, right? Because they're looking for one thing. So for instance, if you're somebody who is only looking for, you know, vintage clothing, right? And that is very specific. I know I'm walking down a thin road here. But if you're only looking for a specific type of vintage clothing to resell, then you're going to pass up a lot of items. And if that's okay with you, okay, great. For somebody like me, that's awesome, because if I sit next to you at the bin or stand and pick through items next to you, I'm going to be excited because I'm going to be like, they didn't pick up this. They didn't pick up this, right? As I'm throwing things into my cart. Those are the people that I love to be next to, is somebody who's stuck in a niche. However, even somebody who only picks up modern clothing, right? You only pick up, say, women's modern clothing. Awesome. I still want to be next to you because you're going to pass up vintage pieces. You're going to pass up men's pieces. You're going to pass up kids' clothing. You're definitely going to pass up shoes and other categories because you're not even going to go over there. So I encourage you, if you want to have the competitive advantage at places like the thrift store or the Goodwill outlet, pick up other things. Now, at the Goodwill outlet, you might say, well, I'm not familiar with those categories. Well, congrats. I'm not familiar with those categories either, but I just start picking them up. That's one reason to just kind of toss stuff into your cart, and then when you're ready to check out, to run comps on those items and do a little bit of research, you know, put in the work and see what they're worth. And you'll start learning. It's amazing. I love it. That's like, you know, it's a very time consuming task, but it's also super interesting to sit there and learn about all these different pieces. Not only what are they worth, but just some information about them, and to kind of learn new keywords or just different brands. So the goal is really to sit there and comp things before you leave the store so that you can learn other categories. And the more you do this, the more comfortable you're going to become. You know, for me, when I first started thrifting, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't comfortable with anything. You know, I did a lot of my shopping. Where did I do a lot of shopping? Actually, right when I started this job, I was buying a lot of clothes from ThredUp, and I was strictly buying items for style and not brand. I didn't really know anything about brands. I either knew what was at Target, or I knew what, you know, like what was on the runway. And I only knew like commercially what was on the runway. I didn't really know, you know, I only knew probably like 3 or 4 brands that were on the runway. So really running comps is what taught me more obscure brands. It taught me more modern and mainstream brands for sure, which you can get if you watch haul videos, right? But if you're looking for more obscure brands that could be worth a lot of money that some people might not know about, and really that's how you find people's what's their list? Like their BOLO lists, right? Like their super specific obscure BOLO lists is from running comps. They just pick up items and they're like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of this. I don't think a lot of people are selling it, and they bank it. How do I know this? Because I do it too. For, you know, a period of time, especially pre-pandemic, I had probably 10 brands, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when they're money makers, it is big. 10 brands in my head that I was like, okay, if I ever find this, I know I'm having a great day, right? Like this is going to pay for the thrift trip, and other people aren't going to pick it up at the thrift store, the outlet, because they just don't know it and they're not willing to look at it. And the tag looks really cheap. Man, how often does that happen where you see a tag that looks really cheap and then you look it up and you're like, oh my gosh, the comps on this are really great. They just don't have a tag that appears to be a high-end item. So anyways, the most important thing to do is run comps. And if you've made it this far in the video and you're saying to yourself, Denali, I don't know how to run comps. Well, it's just, you're looking at sold listings and you're also looking at sell-through rate. So if you're just using the eBay app, for instance, when you're out and about, I believe the eBay app only shows you a 3-month or 90-day history of solds. So you're going to want to look at how many items are active, how many items have sold. Don't look at completed, you need to look at sold. And then you're also going to want to look at what did they sell for. Don't necessarily browse high to low, you know, that is interesting to look at, but you want to get an overall picture. You can use Terapeak, which is offered on eBay. If you have an eBay store subscription, it will give you a 365-day history, which is a bit more wealth of knowledge. You can look at it on your phone. It is a little bit harder. I do wish it was formatted for mobile. It's not. There are other websites or apps that people use. I think some people use Sellhound. I've not personally used it, but I know other people have, so I'm not sponsored to talk about them. I'm just kind of giving you options here. Also, you can run comps on Poshmark. I'm gonna be honest, why I don't like running comps on Poshmark is because they never delete anything. Like, there's search history there from, I'm pretty sure, the inception of Poshmark. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then we're talking about almost a decade's worth of comps. And I'm not interested in looking at Free People comps from 2013, for instance, because what sold in 2013 for one price is not going to be what it's going to sell for today, right? It's two different things, unless it's a really special item. So you get what I'm saying. If you are familiar with other websites or apps that we could be using to look up comps, if you wouldn't mind commenting down below, I'd love to share that with the class. I'd love for you to share that with the class. There was a really great app that I used to love. It was called Completely. It doesn't exist anymore. That's a bummer. So if you know something comparable to that, that would be great. Comparable to a comps app. That's funny. But anyway, that's my little rant and spiel for the morning, is to have the competitive advantage is to be grabbing everything and looking at everything. So if you're not currently doing that, I challenge you to do that. I do think that you will learn a lot doing that. You know, I don't love selling men's items, but I absolutely love getting huge payouts on men's items. So that's why I do it. And for me, it's, you know, I don't have a love of one category. And if you do, I understand why this wouldn't work for you. But for me, you know, I just like running a reselling business, and so I don't mind selling anything. So anyway, that's my rant and spiel for the morning. I need to drink this coffee because my lids are drooping. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. It's rainy here. I don't want to get out of my car, but I have to. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.